let me introduce. My name is Angely Maulidyawati from English Literature Department, Pamulang University. I would like to present and explain about language acquisition. The first is the definition. That language acquisition is the process of building the ability to understand a language, using it to communicate with others. Thus, language acquisition, or more specifically, first language or native language acquisition. Meanwhile, Chomsky argued that children will never acquire the tools needed for processing an infinite number of sentences if the language acquisition mechanism was dependent on a language input alone. The language acquisition divided into two types. There are first language and second language. The first language acquisition, FL or L1, is the children may acquire one or more first language. For example, children will grow up in an environment which only English is spoken, and her will acquire only English as their first language. And for the second language, some other children and adults can seemingly acquire languages in addition to their first. Most people must learn second languages. And for the linguistic competence, they are divided into 5 linguistic competence for the language acquisition. The first is phonology. Phonology is divided into 5: basic biological noise, calling, vocal play, babbling, and melodic utterance. And the second is lexical. They are naming, action, describing, and social words. Next is semantic. Semantic is the children tend to use word more boldly than adults. Divided into 2 types: over extension and under extension. For the grammar, is a holopathic stage for the age 12 till 18 months, and the second is 2-word stage for the age 18 till 24 months, and the last telegraphic stage for age 2 till 3 years. The last is pragmatic. Pragmatic development linguistics, the children's motivation to acquire language to the first place as it serves a different purpose and function. The theory of acquisition has 3 principles. This principle is for use for the second language. The first is lexical principle. Lexical principles are a change in the plural form of the word. For example, foods. Children only add the morpheme s at the end of the word as a plural form, such as foods, from the singular food, until the last level, namely the principle of structure-dependent rules, where the children must use structured language or sentence must depend on structure so that they can have the language according to the correct grammar. The second is generalization principle, which is where the children use more regular inflection or irregular words. The last is uniqueness principle. This principle explains the fact that children end up using the plural form they hear from their surrounding and use the singular child by adding as the plural form of the children. On the uniqueness principle, they will know the plural form and use children rather than children's. For the conclusion, the first language acquisition differs from the second language learning in the children acquire first language innately and passively, while adults learn second language actively through explicit education and instruction. Enough for my explanation about the language acquisition. I hope you understand the material.